prepaid collect call from
Ahmed Adisa.
an offender at the Eastern Reception and Diagnostic Center.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded.
To accept charges, press 1. To refuse charge, thank you for using Securus. You may start the conversation now.
Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much for calling back. Really appreciate your time. And you need to leave in about 15 minutes, right? There is a lockdown, you were saying?
Yeah, about 15, 20, about 20 minutes or so. I got about probably to 10 after 4 possibly.
Yeah, well, Rami's about to come right now, but he can take this on, inshallah. But what can you let us what is that entails? You know, when there's a lockdown.
You said what it entails?
Yeah, what does it mean? A lot of people doesn't know what does that mean when there's a lockdown.
Oh, well, lockdown. That's when we go into lockdown. We have to go into our cells, and they do a count. So they after the count, then they'll let us back out. But it takes about an hour or so because they count throughout the whole prison. So we have to go in, stand by our cells, stand by our bunks, and they come by and count. So everybody has to be locked down in order for the count to have to be done properly.
Because just for the moment it takes to search, and then they let you guys back out, right? All right, cool. Well, Ahmed, as I told you, inshallah, so we would like to know. Actually, here's Rami is gonna take over the conversation. I'll be next by.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, ya Sheikh.
Alhamdulillah, I'm going to give salams to also all of the viewers, the people who are watching.
Yes, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So how are you doing, brother?
Alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala rasulil kareem.
Alhamdulillah. We're doing these interviews for our supporters who are watching, and we just want to hear a little bit about you. So if you could also share with them just maybe a little bit about yourself, a couple minutes.
Yeah. Well, I'm Ahmed Adisa. Right now I'm 45 years old. I've been incarcerated for 18 years. I was falsely imprisoned in 2000 for a crime, and I've been fighting that on a day-to-day basis. Alhamdulillah, I have 2 beautiful daughters. I spend my time mostly just trying to benefit my life and trying to get out of prison. But while I'm here, thanks to Tayba and alhamdulillah, and the things that I've learned in Tayba, my life has been exponentially better. Even in prison, I've been able to do a lot of things that I was actually not able to do when I was home. So.
Oh yeah, what are some of those things?
Well, mainly like teaching. So at this point, the things that I've learned from Tayba have given me an opportunity to not just learn more about Islam, but to also pass that message on. Because in prison, we don't have people that come from the streets. We don't have any, they call them visitors in corrections here, VIC. We don't have any of those people that come in. So we deal with all of our stuff on our own. And for the past few years that I've been studying with Tayba, alhamdulillah, thanks to, the phone and the classes that I've taken in Tayba, a lot of the questions that we would have to wait years to get answered or months, we know those answers now.
And now it's pretty quick, especially they've given you tablets in the Missouri Department of Corrections, right? For all our viewers,
right?
Ahmed's in Missouri.
Right.
So how does it feel now that you have those tablets and you can email us directly?
Well, that helps a lot. I probably bother you too much now, but
no, not at all, not at all. Mashallah. Now it's I actually look forward to it. I was at a cafe the other day waiting to pick up something. We had a meeting, and I said, okay, what can I do with these few minutes? And I said, let me click on my JPay app and see if Ahmed's responded to my email.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, I think it's that interaction and that availability is something that's just 18 years ago, 5 years ago, I would have thought that was completely impossible. But
you would have thought it's completely what now?
It was just impossible to me because, I'm in Missouri. Missouri is not the most, it's not the state where they usually embrace things like a tablet or technology. So for that to come in, Allah is the only answer for that. And to have that interaction, we can have answers so quickly, and where we can read them over. It's just not a brief conversation. There's no way to measure how important that is now, and it really helps with the learning along the way. And somebody might have a question that you cannot answer, you can get the answer very quickly. I mean, it's excellent.
And you also use that technology. If you could share with all our viewers and supporters a little bit about, we connected you with a Tajweed teacher, Sheikh Nail Kaji, who's from a very scholarly family, mashallah. His grandfather established a madrasa in South Africa. His children and his grandchildren are all involved at one level or another in the ulum. But he asked us a couple years ago how he could help, and I said, well, we do have a student who would like to learn Tajweed. So if you could share a little bit with our viewers about Sheikh Nail and yours Tajweed lessons over the years and the friendship that you've developed.
Yeah, mashallah. Sheikh Nail and I, we initially just started. I wanted to memorize the little Quran and to improve my Tajweed. Since then, we've memorized together. We've memorized Yasin. We're halfway through Kaf right now. Surah Al-Mulk. Revised the last juz of Quran. I'm almost finished now memorizing the Jazariya with him, and inshallah with that I'll get my ijazah from him and from a scholar that he also interacts with named Sheikh Abdul Mun'im, who's there in Boston with him. And from that, when there was a documentary done on my case recently, last year, and from that he asked me about that, and we've went to talking about that, and he's got together some students to help me out on my case. And also, we've done a few classes together with some things that he does up there in the Boston area. Also, from that, I've been teaching Tajweed here. I'm actually teaching the part of the Jazariya that I already know. I'm teaching people that on a day-to-day basis here. And I actually got a visit from Sheikh Nail a couple weeks ago.
Oh, wow. How did that feel? So before the visit, how long were you in contact with him? About 3 years, right?
About 3 years. Yeah, I actually looked it up the other day, and it's right about 3 years.
And you never, it was all by the phone, or did you email him at all? Did you have email correspondence, or was it just phone?
No, every now and then I wrote him something if I couldn't get in contact with him. Maybe he was out of the country or something like that. But
so how did it feel to see him after all these years of just having communication by phone?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be awkward. But when he finally came up and we sat down, we talked as if it was we had just finished our conversation the day before.
Mashallah.
And it was a beautiful situation, and the great thing about it is having all of this time over the phone and talking. I guess that had endeared us to a great deal, and plus, I think learning something as intimate as the Quran with somebody kind of endears that person to you anyway. So I think it was a very beautiful interaction, and I look forward to seeing him again, inshallah.
Yeah, I do too, and I think I told you this, but I said that when I heard that he was going to visit you, because you and we've been in contact for about maybe 10 years, right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
And I still haven't seen you in person, and so when I heard that he was going to be able to see you in person, I said, I'm jealous, but the good jealousy, not the hasad, not where I want his blessing removed. I would like the blessing as well, so inshallah, we get a chance to meet each other in person one day as well.
Yeah, inshallah, that'll be great.
Tell us a little bit. So you mentioned we got a couple questions on the live feed. I'm going to give you those questions too. But tell us a little bit about. You said that through the Boston Masjid, you were able to give a lesson to the community where Sheikh Nail is. Tell our viewers a little bit about that, about who you were talking to and what you were talking about.
Yeah. The first interaction we had was with a group of students. That were a part of a weekend gathering that he had, and I spoke briefly about based on the hadith of the Prophet, dunya sijnul mu'min wa jannatul kafir. This world is the prison for the believer and paradise for the non-believer. Mm-hmm. And I just related how being in an actual prison, the physical prison, helps me have an understanding of that hadith a lot different than other people might see it. a lot of the things that we benefit in prison from being able to obviously just see already what we are in. Our brotherhood is stronger because we see that we need to hold together. As opposed to the Muslims on the outside world, they are in a prison, but they don't perceive it. It's based on your faith that you have in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And, the more of Islam you attract, that you attach to your life, rather, the more you feel that confinement. And you see the prison of not being able to do the things that you see everybody else doing and that they might consider to be in enjoyment or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But for us, it would be more of a diversion. And so that was we went on that premise, and people asked questions, and it was very, very good. To be honest, the children asked the best questions.
Yeah, and you mentioned one of those questions. You said one of the kids asked, "How do you?" It was an 8 or 10-year-old kid who asked, "How do you maintain presence in the prayer?" And you gave an answer. But there was another child who asked another question about relating to your case. Could you share that with us?
Yeah. She asked if I had forgiven the people who lied about me and got me incarcerated.
Yeah, and that's a deep question because for our viewers, Ahmed's case is the main witness in his trial that gave him a sentence of life without parole. The main witness has since recounted his story and said that he lied. And so this child, after hearing that story, is asking you now, have you been able to forgive them? So what was your answer?
I told her, first of all, I thought it was a good answer, a good question, rather. Mm-hmm. And I told her that, yeah, I did. I found room to forgive, but it was not easy initially. Mm-hmm. And that it took me quite a while just to even realize that I needed to forgive that person. Mm-hmm. And I felt that at the beginning of my time when I started, I felt righteous and that I was. You should not forgive somebody that did those things to you. But as I grew in my faith and grew in my knowledge of Islam, and I mean, you know that you cannot harbor those things. You cannot hold on to that stuff.
Yeah, that's something really deep because here we are in free society, and we have sometimes simple grudges that we're not able to give up. And here's somebody who is the cause of you getting a life without parole, and you've worked through that. And I hope in the future we have some opportunities for our supporters and the people who follow our work to hear you speak more about that. So I just wanted to wrap up a few more, and there it is in the comments. Thank you, Ahmed Adisa, for putting the story, Ahmed Adisa's story, and you can also watch a documentary about Ahmed's work. And just as a note too, Ahmed and I are working on a lot of the life skills program here at Tayba, so we're working on developing that. And Ahmed's been doing a lot of work in the prisons in being a developer and a facilitator for a program called the Intensive Therapeutic Community, where prisoners are actually have their own section of the prison where they can live under this code, and they have people supporting them, people of all faiths, and they're helping them work through addictions, working through criminal thinking, getting them ready for reclaiming their lives and staying on the path of recovery. So we hope to in the future share with that. But to end on a lighter note, since we're doing this Giving Tuesday and we're all here at the office working on pushing the campaign, they ordered halal meat, and I don't mean to rub it in, but there's a halal meal over here that they're enjoying while I'm doing this interview. But I want to ask you as a final question, since Muslims don't really have halal meat in the prison, what do you do?
Oh, well, that's a good question, because what happens is that sometimes they have beans, and I have a crock pot, so they have rice. Mostly, you have a fish diet mostly. If you're going to eat halal, which every Muslim should, you mainly eat that. And if you don't have money, the best things you have is to possibly go to the chow hall and eat vegetables every now and then. And they have bread at every meal, and they have beans also. But you really restrict it as far as that's concerned. And that's one of those things about being in prison, even for you guys out there. As eating halal is still a difficult thing to find in different places of the world, and but in here it restricts you. And if you don't eat those healthy things, then you're just going to be eating all of the rest of the canteen, which is just garbage, chips and sweets and things like that. So it causes for a little more discipline than normal to eat properly and healthy and stay healthy in here.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap up this interview. It's been about 15 minutes. Do you have any final words of advice that you want to share with those watching the live feed or watching this video later?
I would say anyone that if you heard of Tayba now, and if you understood, and if you know anyone that's been in prison, or if you've been in prison, or you has seen some kind of interaction about what happens in prison, then understand that what Tayba is doing and what Tayba has done for people is something that has never been done before in America. And what happens from this knowledge is that people eventually come home. Nobody stays in prison forever. And everybody that's listening and everybody that's watching, you will be affected by somebody that leaves prison. Tayba can potentially stop someone from coming outside of prison and recriminating. As opposed to that, you can have somebody that learns from Tayba, it gets involved in Tayba and comes home and teaches the community, as opposed to being a detriment to their community. And if there's anything that anybody should know, is to support Tayba for that reason. If that's the only thing that you can find in your heart to support it for.
Well, thank you, Ahmed. Inshallah, we look forward to allowing our supporters and followers to hear from you again in the future. And I look forward to continuing our conversations as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.